This is I Do What If's Golden Age, and I will be doing or continuing What If Deku is reincarnated. So the reason why I didn't post the last video I was supposed to post yesterday, I was supposed to post like one, I'm pretty sure like one or like two videos yesterday, but I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then I was like, crap, I have to grind on Dragon Ball Legends, because the Vegeta Super Saiyan God transformation and the Goku God Bind characters, they only have 1 day, so I was like, I have to grind on that. So yeah, I hope you understand. I managed to get Goku Bind. I got all of the transformation units. I'm still trying to get LF Vegeta, which is like, I like spent probably over 10,000 crystals from grinding that one night. So yeah, I'm gonna continue this. I believe there's like 1 month left until the UA entrance exam. So, Deku is basically, I'm gonna say that he's sitting in his room. He's sitting in his room. He's been getting a lot of attention at school lately, and he's like, okay, as in, he gets a little, let's say that he gets a little psychic, like God appears, like not appears in front of him, but he hears God in his mind, and God's like, well, boy, that was interesting. And Deku's like, huh? Yeah. And then God's like, what's the matter? You have the power. And then Deku, because he notices, like, he feels that Deku is just nervous, so scared. He's like, yeah, I have the power, but I don't have the personality for it. And then God's like, I'm interfering with human lives. I've been interfering with mortal lives for, actually, he would say I've been interfering with mortal lives quite a lot lately. So, boy, I'm gonna give you one last gift, as he snaps his finger. And, Deku doesn't even feel scared, nor nervous anymore. Those emotions are just gone. What he feels is confidence and freaking pride. So he's like, what happened to me? As then Deku stands up, and he's like, so, I understand that you don't, well, like, well, publicity? I cannot pronounce the word. I can understand that you don't like publicity. I cannot pronounce the word. Just forget about that. So, he's like, I understand you don't like being in the eye of the crowd. You want to save that for the future, huh? Deku's like, yeah, I don't suppose you can do anything about that, huh? And God's like, of course I can. And also, I've been feeling a lot of ill will again, being directed towards you. And then Deku's like, by Kachan, and then he's like, oh, no, the young explosion boy. Of course not. I just say it's a couple of what you mortals call villains. And then Deku's like, oh, villains? And then he's like, yeah. And then God's like, well, because, I was gonna say that God wanted Deku to be one of his, like, a new angel, basically. And, so God's like, just snaps his finger. Deku hears the snap. And then everybody who knew about the incident just forgot about it. The news tapes were destroyed, and it's just basically gone from basically just everybody's mind. They really don't know who Deku is anymore. So then he's like, huh? What happened? And then he's like, I got rid of it all for you, young man. This is the last favor I'm going to grant you. Just know that. And Deku's like, oh yeah, thank you. And then he's like, well, you probably won't be hearing from me. You probably won't be hearing from me for quite a while, so see ya. As then God disappears from Deku's mind, basically. And then Deku just gets up from his room. So Deku's just looking at, like, staring at his palm. As then he just walks out of his room and he says, yo, Mom, I'm going to dig up a beach. And she's like, dig up a beach? As in, Deku goes to dig up a beach and he notices that it's already been cleaned up. I don't remember. Oh yeah, so Deku was going to dig up a beach. when he still gets there, he notices that it's all like the trash is all gone. I think it's like someone must have cleaned it up when I was dead. And he's like, all right. As in Deku's, I'm gonna say he goes there anyway. He's not gonna be there to lift any weights or lift any trash. He's just there. I'm gonna say Deku's like, I want to see my okay. He's like, I wonder what my max is. As he puts his hand out, I'm gonna say he puts his hand like he straightens his palm out and he puts his like up in the air and then he brings it down like a karate chop, and then it basically creates a huge gust of wind, slashing, well not slashing, but cutting through like the sand slash like cutting the ocean in half so bad. Like it's just basically cutting the ocean in half to the point where this is you can visibly see the sand on the the ocean basically. The water has moved away from that spot, and now it began to fill in. Deku's like, oh, all right. And then he's like, I shall deem this my axe chop. And he's like, I wonder what would happen if I threw a punch. And then God's about to interfere, but he's like, I can't interfere with mortals anymore. As Deku throws a punch, and you remember that scene where All Might defeated All for One? It's basically that. So, it's basically that, but a little bit bigger, because Deku is stronger than All Might. And then he's like, oh, alright. As in, I'm gonna say like pro heroes, I'm gonna say like a couple of pro heroes run over there and they're like, hey, what's going on? After the tornado disappeared, and Deku's just standing there like, my bad. As in, I'm gonna say that Deku ran. So basically Deku ran, and he basically moved so fast it looked like he was teleporting. So he basically ran. There are dust clouds behind him, basically he's moving fast. As in, I'm gonna say that he basically tries to stop, and then he runs into a wall, breaking the wall. It's like super speed and durability. Alright. As then, he's like, I really need to find a way to limit this, because, yeah. So then Deku, he tries again, but this time, like, probably, like, nearly all the way away from the area the heroes were at. So, he's like, just need to make this one weaker. As he then throws a punch. This time, this punch, I'm going to say it's the equivalent to, like, 20% one for all. So basically enough to create air forces. It's basically, like, enough to create gust of wind, but not that powerful. And Deku's like, alright, I guess I'll have this set as my base. Because Deku can basically one-shot everyone in My Hero now, including All For One. All For One won't even be able to stand a chance. So yeah. Deku's hero costume will be different. I'll get into that later though. So Deku is basically, he hears a scream. Well, not a scream, but he hears people talking. He's like, huh? Oh yeah, super hearing. As in, he looks over to where the direction of where there's, he hears the speaking. He hears some very foul language. And then he's like, well, as then he jumped. Basically, he basically just leaped forward, and my man basically was just gone. He's basically gone. My man crashed through, I'm gonna say, like, there was, like, an abandoned building in front of where they were, and he crashed through the building. Like, my man's jumped in the air, and then, being the scientific, well, the questionable person that who is, he would have questions to see if he can do something that All Might can do. That's basically jumping off the air, which he managed to do. He managed to, like, do towards a building, and he's like, how do I stop myself? As then he crashes into the building, where he hears the commotion. As he then steps out, cracking his bones, he's like, remember, this is like cocky. I'm gonna say Deku's cocky, because his personality was changed by the man upstairs. So Deku just walks out cracking bones. He's like, ooh, I gotta stick the landing. Gotta practice on that. As in he walks, and then he sees two, I'd say like two, yeah, two thugs and a girl that looks questionably like he can basically sense the malice coming off of her. He's like, the fuck? Who's the victim here? Those two are her. He's basically just questioning because Deku has the ability to sense emotions slash like things like hatred, lust, and all that. He's just looking at, and then so he puts his hands in his pocket and he looks directly at Toga and he's like, that's a lot of hate. Well, not hate, but that's a lot of killing intent. And then he's like, alright. As Deku, I'm gonna say those two are like, who the f are you, bro? As then Deku would just pick up two rocks and he's like, come at me, bro. As those other two are like, you cocky little piece of... And then Deku just puts his hand out where their two pebbles are. And then he proceeds to flick the pebbles into the two people. And they're just basically on the ground crying right now. So he's like, oh, wow, I barely even used power into that one. As then he looks at Toga, and he's like, oh, well, you're free to go now. And she's like, oh, thank you, hero. See, she just starts to walk away, and then Deku's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you should really watch that killing intent. And then Toga just looks at Deku with a very, the Toga smile. The thing that she is basically adored for. So, yeah, Deku's like, alright. I'm gonna say that Toga. She walks over to Deku. She tries to stab him. And Deku grabs her arm. And then he's looking at her and he's like, okay. Okay. He's basically just thinking, okay, in his mind. And then she's like, she's like, you look pretty, basically. And then she's like, I wonder I wonder how you would look if you had a few cuts on you, basically, still trying to push her knife into Deku. And Deku's like, we all have our kinks, I guess. As Deku I'm gonna say he does knocks Toga's arms away as he pushes her, and she goes flying backwards. Deku's like, I don't got time for this. As soon Deku, I'm gonna say that Toga gets up, and she's like, starts running towards Deku. Deku's basically, he's like, okay, it's time to test something else. As he's like, oh, if I put too much force into it, it might even kill her. As Deku proceeds to tap his foot on the ground. Basically, like what Sonic does is basically when he taps his foot down. It's basically like that. But when he does it, he crushes the ground beneath him and creates a shockwave that hits Toga in the stomach. Basically, Deku did that with the tap of a foot, basically. Deku's like One Punch Man up in this bit. But, yeah. My man, this man defies the laws of physics, basically. So, he taps his foot on the ground, and Toga gets hit by the gust of wind that Deku, forced. So, yeah. She just falls to the ground like, okay. This is where I'ma end this off. Like, comment, and subscribe. 30 likes for the next video. Oh, that's gonna be my intro. Not intro, but that's gonna be my exit. So, yeah, goodbye.